rainy night in a valley town, my girl and I went to settle down. She used to smile, now she wears a frown. Love on the door. I had a job at the factory, Jean cleaned tables, got a dinner free. They closed the plant, threw away the key. Love on the door. What we have never goes away. We swore we'd never end up this way. Something seeped into our heart and soul. Love on the door. Love on the door. We walk the streets, nothing much to say. The coat is threadbare and it's rained all day. I kick a tin can out of the way. Love on the door. This town's like some prison cell. The jobs are gone, they've gone to hell. Sometimes I feel like an empty shell. Love on the door. What we had never goes away. We swore we'd never end up this way. Something seeped into our heart and soul. Love on the door. Two lovers hurry through an empty square. A silent night and the streets are bare. The lights go out, they don't want to stare. Love on the door. What we had never goes away. We swore we'd never end up this way. Something seeped into our heart and soul. Love on the door. Love on the door. Love on the door. Over to Huw.
Right. This microphone is definitely rather funny. Oh. Right. Yeah. When I was a teenager, the British military were moving. There's a phrase called East of Suez, and the army and the air force and the navy were sort of withdrawing from east of Suez, but actually the last 10 years it's been the other way around. So we've got a song about called East of Suez, East of the Suez, and that's how it goes. Chris has got his got to retune his guitar. Is that too loud? Okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
boy from our street when he went off to war. God sent Easter Suez, but I don't know what for. They brought him home in a big cargo plane. Mum says by next year he'll be right as rain. There's talk on the news and there's rumours of war. They've torn up the treaties and laughed at the law. There's more broken bodies coming home in air freight. When it's east of the Suez, it's always too late. The worn out, the wounded, the stranded, the lost. They spent all the money, but who pays the cost? That poor young boy has got 1,000-yard stare, a hole in his arm and wheels on his chair. There's a nurse who calls in every Monday at noon, east of the Suez and west of the moon. If he sees out next summer, then I'll be surprised. That boy in the window has pain in his eyes. Wounded in action, now he sits all alone, east of the Suez and so far from home. The worn out, the wounded, the stranded, the lost. They spent all the money, but who pays the cost? The worn out, the wounded, and those in despair. What happened to those boys, so brave and so fair? What happened to those boys, so brave and so fair?
We're going to do a song. Chris is going to sing a song, actually, but the first to a war. There's a wonderful Anglo-Welsh poet called Edward Thomas, who's famous for his poetry, but he was also a very early sort of ecologist and environmentalist and keen walker, and he explored all the ancient sort of tracts of Britain, and he wrote the poem Adelthorpe, which is a good summing up really of what England was meant to be like before the war started and how it changed totally after the war. Anyway, he joined the army in 1916 as an elder really, and as a veteran of about 32, and was killed in his first battle at Ypres, I think. Yeah. So this is called The Old Paths of England. It's based on, the actual story is based on a wonderful book called The Old Paths by Robert Macfarlane, which is well worth reading. Okay.
As well, I think. Yeah, okay.
If ever we get back from this war alive, if ever we get free from this mud, if may by some miracle of God we both survive the barbed wire, the shell fire, the blood, if we ever get back to England's shore, I promise you we'll both walk once more the footpaths and old ways, the greenways and downs, the moors and the hills above the old towns. We will wander in peace when the killing has ceased, and we'll walk the old paths of England. I've seen all kinds of things no man should see. My pals are being killed one by one. There were 10 of us signed up to cross the grey sea. Now all but us two are gone. If we see again the 7 in full flow, I promise you we'll ramble easy and slow. The hedgerows and ridges, the cartways and lanes, the streams and stone bridges, we'll walk them again. We will wander in peace when the killing has ceased, and we'll walk the old paths of England. Oh, the brambles and nettles, meadow sweet and lark, summer pools and riverbeds are now in the dark. But we're still in the trenches, Snipers made his first mark, so far from the old paths of England. And you, my dear friend, before we go over the top, there's just 5 minutes till the show starts. My hands are shaking, the trembling won't stop. What I say comes straight from my heart. I promise you one morning we'll walk the ridgeway. We will walk from the dawn till the end of the day. Where's the mercy in war? It's just mud, slime and gore. When we march to the song where all hell lay in store. But we'll wander in peace when the killing has ceased, and we'll walk the old paths of England. Oh, the brambles and nettles, meadow sweet and lark, summer pools and riverbeds are now in the dark. But we're still in the trenches, Snipers made his first mark, so far from the old paths of England. So far from the old paths of England.
We're going to do a song now called the Bevin Boys, and that's Ernie Bevin, not an Iron Bevin. He was a Minister of Labour during the war, and we were very short of coal miners, and basically there was a draft, it was like a sort of lottery, and 16-year-olds were, and 16 and 17-year-old boys were put into the draft. They could come from any part of the country, from any walk of life, any background, and if your name was called up, you had to go underground. And they were 16-year-olds. They must have been absolutely terrified. I'm sure most of them would rather join the army. And so this is the Bevin Boys, and it goes. Anything else? Well, it goes something like this. We were supposed to rehearse this day, but I was late, and we haven't sung this together for many months. Yeah. In fact, I can't remember where it goes. Yeah, okay.
I start.
You start and I'll just join. In fact.
In 44 hours, still a lad, waiting to join the war. One day I got my papers, let me tell you what I saw. I thought I'd join the Navy and I'd sail the ocean deep, but they gave me a collier's lamp and said it was mine to keep. When I read my call-out papers, this is what I found. message from Ernie Bevan said I was bound for underground. I was sent to be a pitman and me a city lad. I took the train from Paddington with goodbye to my mum and dad. So it's down, down we all go, into the darkness down below. I got called up but I got sent down. The Bevin Boys are going underground. They sent me to the Markham mine. They needed my expertise. This boy of 17 summers was trembling at the knees. I was soaking wet behind these. They rang with the noise, but the miners shook their heads and laughed when they saw us Bevin boys. In my own way I did my duty for my country and my king, but I never saw the enemy, I never saw anything, only coal dust and rockfalls in the belly of the earth. The Bevin boys went off to war, to merriment and mirth. So it's down, down we all go, into the darkness down below. I got called up but I got sent down. Bevin boys are going underground. But it was no joke digging out the coal from a roadway 3 feet high, 1,000 feet below the wheel, far from the bright blue sky. In the heat and noise and swirling dust, we craft and earn our pay, hauling props and water pumps along the collier's way. For 4 long years we worked in the mine, then we came up for air. They sent us packing in 48, sent us home without the fare. We were the conscript miners, but we still remember when they sent us down as Bevin boys, we came up as collier men. So it's down, down we all go, into the darkness down below. I got called up but I got sent down. The Bevin boys are going underground. So it's down, down we all go, into the darkness down below. I got called up but I got sent down. The Bevin boys are going underground.
Should we do this one? Okay. Okay, we're going to sing a song now about one of the Welsh working class heroes, Dick Penderyn, Merthyr boy, and way back in 1831 when South Wales was suffering from mass unemployment, terrible housing conditions, poverty, class oppression. Sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Nothing much changed. And there was a riot, well, there was an uprising where the red flag was raised in this country for the first time in Merthyr. And Dick Penderyn was blamed for the uprising and was hauled off to Cardiff jail and was executed there, despite massive protests across the country. This is called the Gates of Cardiff Jail. Okay, Chris. We sweated blood in Merthyr, broke our backs in Aberdeen, worked all the hours on Dallas top, lived lives of great despair, toiled in the mines and foundries fair.
fires in Quaker's yard, and dragged the coal on the old drum road when the wind blew cold and hard. Dressed in rags and tatters, we'd been starved of bread and meat. Like hammies made of skin and bone, we came swarming up the street, poured out of the Bridge Street cellars and the slums of Lower Town. We tried to win the castle in, but the soldiers cut us down. Oh, Penderyn, we thought justice would prevail, and you would walk a free man through the gates of Cardiff jail. They hung poor Dick Penderyn on a cold grey Cardiff dawn, hung him from the gallows arm on that sad and shameful morn. Lord Melbourne showed no mercy, it was all to no avail, and thousands cried when a good man died down there in Cardiff jail. In every town and valley, in ironworks and mine, we remember that sad morning when poor Richard by design, he went to meet his maker by the order of the crown, and in the clay at Swansea Bay we laid his body down. Oh, Penderyn, we thought justice would prevail, and you would walk a free man through the gates of Cardiff jail. From the engines of Glenavon to the fires of Aberdeen, from Carmarthen town to Rumney, Dick Penderyn will be there, and Union men and women in defeat or victory. We'll remember the Merthyr Rising, we'll remember Dick Penderyn and our struggle to be free. Oh, Penderyn, we thought justice would prevail, and you would walk a free man through the gates of Cardiff jail.
Thank you. Thanks. Just a short break before the second lot of poetry. Okay? Thank you.